guys! Jake and Marisa, back again for more live reactions to Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel. I was pointing in the wrong places for that just now.
Okay.
I was like, Jake and Marisa, no, that's not right. And we're testing again with our, doing another live stream.
Live, because usually we call them live reactions.
Yeah,
we've got they happen in real time and without any prep. But now they're live, as in you could be in the chat.
We've got a live streamed live reaction, which I believe I have just notified the Twitters and the Facebooks of, you know, with the social medias, whatnot. So, yeah, oh, here we go.
Peoples?
Yeah, somebody just said that we look great. So
we look good.
Nice.
Yay!
That's good. It's appearances aren't always important, but if you're putting your face out there, it's always nice to look nice. All right, fantastic. So it has been a very busy week, being the actual anniversary week of Power Rangers. So we had a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, Ninja Steel returned last Saturday, so that was a thing. And then on Tuesday, we got the big 25th anniversary special, Dimensions in Danger, along with being the first official National Power Rangers Day. And then, you know, the week, are you checking to see if you can
I'm trying
do a thing?
To mod myself.
Yeah, no, there's no options on any of the things there. That doesn't present me with any options. I even tried right-clicking.
Here it is. Next to my name.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
2. Now
okay, there you go. That was...
I didn't have that last time, which was a bit of a pain.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to... Okay, yeah, we could do the live chat primarily during commercials and post-show. I think that's actually a really good idea. Thank you for that idea, ZJZR. And yes, we finally get Marisa moderator privileges.
Okay.
So we're getting the hang of this.
We're gonna keep every now and then to make sure nobody's swearing or anything.
We're gonna keep playing with this. I think that this is gonna be a good continued experiment moving forward.
I like the idea of...
we had a lot of fun with our first live stream with Dimensions in Danger. And I'm looking forward to continuing to integrate this more with our live stream. So this is going to be fun.
I'm funny?
Apparently you're funny.
There's only one S in Marisa.
This is true.
Hi, Fox.
I don't know. Okay.
He says our Fox is here.
But is that Azzy? I don't think so. I assume that Azzy would be using his usual screen name.
Possibly.
But yeah, and then we had the live reactions last week. We did the PMC.
Is that how many people are watching?
Yeah, we've got 10 people right now.
Okay,
just got started. We got 10. As I say that, it changes to 11 within those first 3 minutes. So that's pretty great.
Yeah, we want to not start reviewing until we have a few people here.
Yeah. And, you know, we usually do a 5 to 10 minute lead in anyway.
Exactly.
But it's a little later in the evening.
Hi, Spencer.
Hello. We haven't decided if this is a permanent thing, but we're liking it, so we might continue doing it, which is pretty much how live reactions got started anyway.
First place.
So that bodes well for this.
If we do it, though, it probably won't always be at this late at night.
Yeah.
I got tapped for some extra overtime today at work.
Yeah.
So I did a 12-hour shift, and I just got home.
Yeah, that was the...
Hi, Chase.
That was the thing. Hello. But yeah, and then we did our usual live reactions to Lupin Ranger. I did a National Power Rangers Day. Jake says hi, where I think I ripped my morph suit a little bit.
Yep, another live stream so soon.
Yeah. It's hard to believe,
and
right?
You re-uploaded episode 84 in...
Actual widescreen. I actually did that a while ago and just kept forgetting to actually share it.
Yeah.
So it's good that that's finally out there. And then, yeah, today we finally released Database Rangers Power Reviews, episode 85, which I am so glad that I finally managed to get that out. Because it's, I mean, I wrote it.
And I'm on his, like, yesterday, I was like, take a nap. He's like, I can't, I have to get the video out. Take a nap. I was like, I have to get the video out. You've only had 2 hours of sleep, but I have to get the video out.
Yeah, I really wanted to get that out. Technically speaking, I did have it uploaded before the end of August 31st Hawaii time.
Hey, go Orange!
Hello. So that was a win.
Yes.
That I way better than my last one, which ended up being like almost 5 months late.
Yeah, and then that one, it did the thing, and we had some weirdness with the.
But I'm getting a little bit tighter on this. This was.
I mean, there's a reason that on the one that's still up, somebody commented third time's the charm.
Somebody here who was in my physics class.
The ghost of Karl Marx.
I wonder who that is. So that's cool. Hello, former student who is remaining unnamed. Yeah, don't
I miss you guys.
Yeah, I keep being like, okay, it's done, and then I put it out there, and then I always find out there's a glitch. I had so much issues.
We were kind of really disappointed that we found out in the summertime that we wouldn't be there the next year, because that means we didn't get to say goodbye to you.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to say goodbye to the students. I was planning on swinging by for Yule log, but that didn't end up happening.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand everybody.
Everybody hates math.
Everybody hates. Well, this was my physics class.
I kind of like physics, because physics is where you get to throw things.
We didn't throw that many things in my class.
Drop them, then.
A little bit.
Spin them.
I was a little, but no, I'm always amused by how many things that I work on where it's basically, I hate that you made me do this, but I really liked what you did. Like, this extends to
directing.
This extends to directing as well, or set design big time. It's like, Jake, why did you design this set? I hate this set so much. I mean, it looks amazing, and I'm glad that it's going to be on the stage, but we need to build it.
There we go.
Okay, there you go. Alright, so I think that we've got, a good handful of people. I think we're ready to start doing our reaction.
Ow! Road.
What did you just do? Why did you punch yourself?
I was trying to do that.
And what did you do instead?
They hit here. It didn't make a clapping noise and it hurt.
Don't punch your thumb. That's ill-advised.
Okay.
Alright, so now it's time for our live reaction to Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel, episode 11, Love Stings.
Alright, behave yourselves in chat.
Alright.
We're going to be paying more attention to the TV this time.
Oh, Earth's greatest ninja. Oh, hey! My dad's here.
Hi, Mr. Brody!
You know you don't need to call him.
I know, but I always do.
We've been together. Oh, here we go. There are Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel. For those of you trying to queue up at home.
Look, my grandmother still misses E to
my dad said you can call him sir.
Sir. I'll call you sir.
Okay.
This is the only medallion that survived your foxy.
Oh, it looks like.
Yeah, Russ here is Jake's dad.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Brody.
Teens go gaga for love. We can use.
So they. Okay, teens do go gaga for love.
They do.
Yes. The time.
Well, not necessarily love, but they think is love because they're teenagers.
So it looks like Venoma's
technically referred to as
medallion was the only one that.
Would you prefer that option?
Oh.
Ooh.
Athena's here.
I use my
Hey, Athena.
to make the Rangers fall madly
So,
in love with me. After they've given me
we're pretty much picking right back up with Venoma.
You wondered when we were gonna.
Well, I figured that we were gonna cover her right after Dimensions in Danger.
It's a deal. I will restore the reputation of the Galactic Ninjas.
Restore the reputation.
Yeah, good luck with that, considering the rest of the Galactic Ninjas are dead. You're pretty much just restoring your own reputation at this point.
Go! Power Rangers,
too,
Ninja Steel. Even with all our might together, Ninja Steel. Never give up without a fight. Together, ninja steel. Power Rangers, fear no danger. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go. Set now for what is right. Together, ninja spin.
The spin!
That's where the spin is. Turn out all day and night. Together, ninja steel. Power Rangers, fear no danger. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, ninja steel. Go, Power Rangers, ninja steel. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers. Go, ninja steel.
So, Brody, do you have a date to Valentine's dance tonight?
So, apparently there's a Valentine's dance.
Did you guys hear who I'm taking to the Valentine's dance? Let me guess.
Is it Sarah?
Does her name start with
No.
H?
Oh, is it Hedy Lamar?
Sandy,
Bringing Hedy Lamar?
was
Did you have time?
wondering if-
They have done some time travel.
Too wishy-washy.
He's gonna ask out Sandy.
Sandy,
What? No,
will you
don't.
dance with me?
Don't summon Don't summon Valentine.
Sandy,
Actually, I think that was
how's
practical.
it going?
I think that was CG.
No, I mean,
A practical trick.
Oh, there she is.
yeah, I don't think he was using his powers for that.
One of your arrows for me, can you?
If you-
What's the
if-
Monty of word?
What did you say?
The way that it was working kind of looked like it came out from the side of his coat on the fishing wire.
Yeah. Oh.
Be mine, Valentine.
Aw.
Love and kisses.
Victor!
No.
That's not what he wanted.
Taught you archery, Monty.
Oh, actually, Victor did.
Okay, that was good. That was a good line.
And it better work this time.
Oh, she knew. Okay, she knew.
Who taught you archery?
Oh no, he's going after Sandy.
Yeah.
The dance is tonight. and
This is not going to work.
You don't have a date yet. Well, today's your lucky day.
Wow. I suspected he was going to get hit. I was not expecting him to get...
You got hit by Cupid's arrow.
Yes. Yes, I have. And Cupid's gonna pay. Won't you go to the dance
Very
with
silly.
me? Here is a small token of my affection. You can have it,
What?
but only if you say yes.
Are you trying to bribe me to go to the dance with you?
Yes,
Of course,
yes,
it
he
worked
is.
on a girl last year.
Get wrong,
Wow.
Victor. I'd rather go to the dance alone than
The-
with you.
Go Sandy!
Alone.
They are on point with the Victor
Lay
and
down
Monty
the
today.
smack.
Apparently, Sandy wants to go to the dance alone.
We're getting some
She wants to go to the dance alone?
Oh.
misunderstanding. Okay, yeah, I think you're right. That was a practical. Oh, and now he's ripping it up.
Told you.
I thought that it was a CG summon.
No, that was a practical both in
Glory, darling.
video and in life.
I
He's
thought
doing sleight of hand.
Have this necklace if you go to the dance with
I
me.
thought that I heard a little.
Sure.
I thought the little magic jingle,
A
but
lot
it
more
was
stuff than
actually
just
magic.
that.
Oh wow, she is perfect.
He found
for
a gold
Victor.
digger.
There we go.
Who's the best, Cody? He's got a Kong. Kongs are good. Our cats have Kongs.
For Valentine's Day, babe.
Little ones, about this big.
Well,
I'm digging this.
Ah, poop!
Think it is?
Cody has to go. Can you please put it in the trash?
Dog poop. My favorite.
I think that's one of the most genuine relationship moments I have seen on television.
So,
I've never hated
did
you,
you
dog
ask
poop.
Sandy to the dance?
We have cats.
This is true.
How did you hear about that?
I saw you practicing your magic for her.
What I've handed you was the litter scoop
Just
and
about
said,
to ask her.
These
Did
are
Victor say that
Yeah.
Sandy wants to go to the dance alone?
Who cares what Victor said? He once told me he was the first man on the moon.
that's a really good point.
You can't believe everything you hear.
Especially if it came from Victor,
A lot of dialogue's really on point in this
Maybe there is some
episode.
chance.
who is like a chronic liar.
I gotta talk to Sandy.
Like
You're in luck, Presto.
we've got
Go, go, go,
we've
go.
got we've
Go,
got,
go,
we've got
Justin
continuity
Oscar.
with Sandy being in the show again. We've got actually funny Victor and Monty moments. We've got
Sandy!
good
Hi!
good advice and
Happy
stuff.
Valentine's Day!
Thanks. Happy Valentine's to you too.
So, about the dance tonight.
Oops, and my
Whoa.
empty
Really, Venema?
Ready for some danger with love?
Oh,
Sandy! Oh no!
okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, Preston. I think so.
Oh no.
Guys!
Okay.
I gotta get out of here. Yeah.
It's a love spell.
The question is it or is it not? It's hard to tell because she did get hit in the backpack.
Fair enough.
And we know that she
This
already
is going to be like the red
Preston.
shoes situation where he thinks he only got her because of the love spell, but actually it was in the backpack.
I'm curious.
Let me show you.
Whoop. Oh, okay.
I'm
Who's...
going to put my money on Beck and Alwyn.
I didn't...
Venema, my sweet darling. Will you be my Valentine?
Oh.
What's my dear?
Those eyebrows.
Come a little closer.
He is enjoying the ham right now.
Going to see my one and only soulmate, Venema. Ooh, I love those antennae and that silky wing.
Brody, you're a wacky guy.
It's hard to teach old dogs new tricks.
Arrow must have made Brody fall in love with her.
But, you know, Beck and Alwyn are still upcoming, so they can adjust. Yeah, because somebody was asking.
Alright, so we've got some commercials.
Yeah, now the commercials are on.
Ninja Turtles and whatnot.
Did Beck and Alwyn step up their game, or was it Chip? I think it's Beck and Alwyn.
It's probably Beck and
The
Alwyn
thing
stepping
is
up their
that Chip
game.
has been doing this for so long that his contribution is probably very consistent. So if we're seeing changes, it's probably the newer people trying things out.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if, considering how they tend to work with the actors, because we've heard word before that that the actors have had some level of say on their characters. I wouldn't be surprised if Peter Sodarso voiced some of his opinions
Yes,
on how he
I also
wanted
would
this
not be
episode to go.
surprised if the actors contributed some.
And that just having that added level of feedback, I can really help for a writer if you're writing to specific actors' needs and comfort. But even on top of that, like that's some of the best Victor and Monty stuff I've seen. We like, who taught you archery? Oh, actually, it was Victor. It's like, are you bribing me? Yeah, I worked on a girl last year. Like, we're getting some good deadpan out of them, which they do not utilize nearly enough, and that they just kind of nailed it on that deadpan. Oh, what do I think of the Venom movie? I think that it is coming out later this year. That is what I think of it so far. I have not seen much outside of the trailers. It could be okay. It could be not great. We'll see.
He's gotten used to his
Some of the effects on Venom himself look pretty cool. What are my hopes for Beyond the Grid?
Luckily for all your hard to watch.
Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing how they build their new universe.
Beyond the Grid, is that what comes after Shattered Grid?
Yeah. I read the Shattered Grid finale. I really liked how they ended things. I thought they went for a really nice.
We can probably discuss that in more detail at a later time.
Yeah.
We want to give people a chance to read it. Don't want to spoil it.
I will say I do like how it was more character and emotion driven than necessarily plot driven. There were a few things that, maybe felt a little bit like they kind of came out of nowhere, but they came from such a genuine emotion place, and you could see that it was all about the characters and their journey, and that I think really kind of made.
Yeah, Venema has appeared.
Yes.
We're at the first commercial break.
I think those emotions.
Nickelodeon. Oh, and we're back for the
and
first
we're back.
break. On the Nickelodeon cable.
I find it interesting that that this Galaxy Warriors
I haven't seen a lawnmower yet.
Galactic Ninjas arc. I'm sorry.
This is Venema and Arrows.
No, the lawnmower app was Game Over. That was the one with the lawnmower monster.
Here's something you're not gonna love.
So I will say, this does demonstrate very much how the arrows seem to affect someone's personality. They get very over-the-top lovey-dovey.
Yeah, I told one of my friends I was doing this,
Yeah.
and I posted it in her Discord channel if anyone wants to watch. And apparently I'm getting flack for calling you my hubling. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I got
Spider bite.
a spider bite on my back somehow last night.
Not the back, don't touch the back.
During the hour or two I fell asleep, I got a spider bite.
Not today, but hour
Last
two
night.
he fell asleep before he spent all day and all night yesterday on the video. Hey!
They that's gonna be awkward for Haley.
No, not you guys too. Hey, we gotta get out of here. Come on. 3 Rangers love me. Soon the power stars will be mine.
Yeah, I was actually saying to Jake,
All she wants is to be loved.
about
Hey
how
Mick, where have you been?
I thought that maybe my stuff in the last episode was a little too melodramatic, but Jake says that, Power Rangers is all melodramatic, so it is fun when they get to ham it up.
Yeah.
It's definitely fun when they get hammy like this.
Look what I'm making for Venema.
A remote control dump truck
Truck full of flowers.
Writing a song just for her.
This is
What are you
Very
up to
silly.
there, Shorty? I'm gonna throw it into the prism to make a gift for Venema.
wow, that is
Here it goes.
pretty well
Yeah,
forged
please
there.
don't. Please
Oh,
don't.
good
Please don't waste Ninja Steel.
good redirection there, Mick.
From what you told me earlier, the spell seems to be caused by being hit by one of Venom's arrows.
Yup.
And we need to get those arrows before she can hit anybody else.
Yes.
Oh yeah, never forget evil elf.
Let's have a little talk. about
Tyler
all
loved
your
being an
little
elf
feelings.
so much.
It's
An
text from Sandy.
evil elf.
Yes.
The cheese is real in Power Rangers. Yeah, that's why I don't have to feel too bad about being a little overacted at the end of the last episode.
We'll look after the Romeos.
I still feel weird about the way my neck looked on video. It looked like I don't have a neck. I look like the guy from
I love that the
Rocky Horror Picture Show. The man you're about to see has no neck.
I love how Sarah and Haley are both totally shipping Preston and Sandy.
Maybe what?
I think we're.
dance with you.
Aw, she asked him.
That's great.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
Yes. And now he's wondering, oh no, is this because of the spell?
Oh no, are you okay?
Kristen,
He's trying to decide
you good?
what's the right
Yeah.
course of action here.
So here's the thing. I think you're really great.
Oh.
I can't go to the dance with you.
Oh.
Well, because you're.
He's trying to think of a reason.
It just wouldn't be right.
Wouldn't be right. Oh. He's lost on how to do that.
What happened?
I hate cringe TV.
She just asked me to
This
dance.
is here's the thing though. Cringe is usually a result of
Bad comedy. I know this time it's drama, but it's still I
Well,
can't
I
stand
wouldn't-
watching people in pain like this.
I wouldn't even call this one cringe
One of
actually.
Venom's arrows hit her. So
I-
she doesn't really like me.
I find this
She just
stuff
asked me if she's
unpleasant.
under a love
I don't
spell.
like seeing people getting hurt like this because of stupid misunderstandings.
Well, here's the thing though. This is not what I would classify as a stupid misunderstanding. This is something where it's like
Bag.
within the context of
Hold on.
this
Check
universe.
it out. The arrow hit.
Hit her
Physics
up.
saving the day. There you
Chase
go.
her.
That means you never touched her.
There we go.
Chase her! Chase her! Chase her! Okay.
Who said physics never helped anyone?
That turned her down.
Oh yeah.
Grab the book, chase her, and explain you thought she was hit by Cupid's arrow. It's not that hard.
How do things get so messed up?
He's trying to figure out how to. Well, one of the things that it is one of those sort of delicate situations where it's like, how do you
We all want the same.
how do you even talk to this about somebody in a world where this sort of stuff happens?
And get out of here. And once we're out, may the best man win.
Power Rangers aren't the only ones she shot.
True. Well, actually, no. They're the only ones that we've seen her shoot outside of Sandy.
Oh, fair enough.
So it's like trying to. Oh, nice armor.
Hey guys, what's up?
We have come up with a plan
Yeah, I'll get
for dealing
Um, what's that?
Oh, somebody just asked me for a link to our live stream, so I'm going to give it to them.
Oh, it looks like the lovesick guys have run off. But yeah, when you live in a world where people are often subject to spells from monsters, but the majority of the victims of those spells are specifically the Power Rangers. Talking about the consequences of a spell with a civilian is a difficult issue to broach properly.
I mean, I saw you get shot by a monster, and I don't know, if you're yourself right now, is not a weird thing to say.
Well, I mean, it is a weird thing to say, but here's what we don't know how
weird. It's not a weird thing to say in the Power Rangers universe. A weird thing to say in the Power Rangers universe is, sweetheart, there's no such thing as monsters.
Yes, I know. But what I'm saying is,
no byproducts.
well, one, talking to somebody about them being under a spell is always kind of a weird gray area.
Yeah.
Because, especially with a love spell, they will fight you on it. They're going to say, no, this is really how I feel.
This would take like 10 seconds in Mystic Force. Yeah, exactly.
From our crazy delicious family to yours. Part of this complete
What would take like 10 seconds in Mystic Force?
Solving this misunderstanding.
Special.
I don't know about that. I mean, she'd already run off, and now he's just trying to think on how to... It's a delicate situation.
Get out that boombox,
And he wasn't-
Preston!
Yes, there we go. Go for say anything. Yes, that would be... That does seem like the course of action.
Your privacy makes
Just summon a boombox.
Wherever the
I'm sure you
Power
can do
Rangers end up in the Avengers Civil War, I think they would probably be split, just like any other team, because they're made up of a whole bunch of
Okay, here's the thing. Somebody just asked what side the Power Rangers would be in if they were in, like, Marvel Civil War. It really depends, I think, on the
each
team.
individual ranger
Well, less on individual rangers, more on individual teams. Different teams have different approaches to
different
their
core
secret
teams.
identities.
Yes.
Generally, yeah.
But sometimes, quote-unquote, 6th Rangers and beyond might wind up on opposite sides from the core team, because they often have very different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
With ABC Mouse, he just kind of took off like a rocket.
But yeah,
Reminder that Hexagon wanted to go that route.
this is one of those scenarios that I feel like, at least for me, could easily go the cringe route, but it's not feeling cringy to me.
History.
1, 2, red and blue, 3, 4, then one more. 5 will come and 5 will stay. 6 will come on the darkest day. We don't actually have like a sing-song aspect past 1, 2, red and blue. We just kind of improvised that just now.
And it worked.
It kind of worked.
The lawnmower was in the episode called Game Plan.
Yeah. Was it called Game Plan or Game Over?
That's what Dustin
Okay,
says.
Game Plan.
Just
Sorry.
reading.
Don't miss the brand new series, Rise of the Teenage Mutant
Not to be confused with Game On, which was an episode in Dino Thunder.
We've got to track them down before.
Oh no, I think somebody mentioned Carter playfully rubbing Chad's head. I remember, I think it was he gave Kelsey a noogie one time.
Playfully rubbing Chad's head.
It was weird Sentai footage is what I believe he's referencing. And I remember that being specifically Carter giving Kelsey a noogie, which is ridiculous.
I'm mildly concerned.
Oh my, that's amazing. Did you hear what Brody just said? He said, they're trying to figure out how to find Venema. He's like, let's go down to the quarry. Monsters always love hanging out down at quarries.
I mean, he's not wrong.
like, this is seriously, this feels like with the level of meta-awareness of the characters right now, this is feeling like a Ninja Storm kind of episode.
Hey, what is this?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Smells like
Which is
honey.
a really nice level for the show to be at right now. Oh, here's
The
Venema.
jokes are always the best. Yes, they are.
I do
Like, I mean, Power Rangers RPM.
Yeah.
All the Ben jokes.
Power
all
Rangers
the Ben
RPM
jokes.
was great for just so many different deconstruction elements.
Could that happen to me in the kitchen?
Oh, we've got full length one. This episode is just feeling on point in so many regards. Like, you do not get enough full length morphs.
No, you really don't.
Or at least, if you do, it's like all 5 in a row, and you can tell they're
And I
clearly
like how
padding.
they
That
seem-
did not feel like padding. That
How
felt
they,
like this is a focus episode. He gets the main morph.
Yeah, I like how they seeded Shelly in earlier than having her just
Sandy. Yeah.
than having her just appear for the first time in this episode.
Yeah.
Which is something that Power Rangers has done in the past that kind of annoys me.
Yeah.
Is
They have a new
they have
character
an
and
important
act
new character.
like they've always been there.
Yeah, but they actually introduced her, and
Ooh, that looks painful.
Earth ninjas are easy. Come to me, my
Yes, she did just make that reference.
I don't know. I
Wow.
didn't see it sooner.
Yes, we can be together.
You're my one true love.
Really?
What?
If you really love me, you'll give me your ninja power star.
Oh yeah, sure. There
Of
you
course,
go.
my sweetness. But first, there's just one little thing.
Oh, he's got a trick. What's his trick? Oh, is he wearing armor? Is he wearing the armor that they were building before?
That was my last love arrow. And now
Oh,
my spell is
apparently she had what?
Hurry up, Cal.
That's
Venom will be waiting
that's
for
a
you
weird way
outside.
for things to work.
As fast as-
you broke my last love arrow. Now everyone I shot is not in love with me anymore.
That's
I thought
Oh.
you'd be married to the monster by now.
really strange thing.
To Venema. Are you nuts? What happened?
They're fixed. But if they're fixed, that means Preston's fighting the monster. Alone.
There we go. Yeah, good. Good that you recognized what that meant immediately and go to help. Like, I have not seen this level of situational awareness from the Rangers before. Yeah.
This is made of metal. Your arrow never touched me. Sorry,
How
Venema.
did it stick, though, in the metal? That would suggest it punctured it.
tricked by a team. This can't be happening.
Yeah, I'll roll with it. There's enough forethought going on, I'll roll with it. I'm like, it punctured the metal, though, but, it's okay.
Could be a fluke, Orange. Could be a fluke.
Little sneak. My
It's-
Let's see if it holds steady.
At the very least, it does feel... Oh yeah, she can still fire non-love arrows, and you probably
Well, the
don't want to be
non-love
unmarked for
arrows
that.
are blue.
Yes. And they also probably hurt more.
Yeah,
There we go.
since you need them alive for the love arrows to work, and you don't need them alive if you're shooting them with the blue arrows of pain.
Whoosh.
Goodbye, Venema.
Oof. This really stings.
Ha ha, the bee says it really stings.
Yes.
Actually, I think she's more of a wasp.
Yeah, probably. Unbelievable. Oh, Cosmo. We missed you last week.
Oh, this isn't good. Uh-oh. What's that? The Blazers!
There we
Your
go.
friends are coming.
Nice.
Just in the nick of time, guys. We've always got your back, Preston.
Whoa. Whoa.
Zord, wing strike.
We just saw individual Zord cockpits for like 2 seconds.
Time to call my surface.
Where have those been? That's nice. Look at
There's
that.
another one.
Those are spiffy little cockpits.
They're proper cockpits.
They're not-
too. They're not.
They're not just a
standing
giant
in
room.
circles.
What? Not a giant room.
I think review time is onto something. So people are saying it's changed considerably at this point, and he's saying that maybe Chip Lynn is stepping back and letting the young people have a little bit more control, you know, to
Actually,
test their mettle.
Actually, correction. I think somebody else may have just been stepping back during this time. Something just occurred to me.
What?
Okay, so you gotta think about ooh, that's a cool attack there.
I like the cockpits too.
You gotta think about the pacing of the writing and the filming, etc. for Power Rangers.
Whoosh.
Which is you know they film from September to May.
That's so adorable.
A lot of episodes are written during the course of filming time. You know, you always try and have the scripts written as far in advance as possible. But let's face it, Power Rangers isn't exactly known for
I
that.
should have believed Victor when he said.
Oh, I want to see the resolution for this.
Alone. She probably already has another date.
Maybe. Maybe not.
He's gonna figure out how to talk to her. Oh, there she is. She just showed up. Yeah, talk to her. Talk to her.
Yeah, I will.
All right, let's see what he has to say.
You got a sec?
What is it? I've got homework to do.
I heard from Victor that you wanted to go to dance alone, but then you asked me, and I wasn't sure if you meant it. But then I found out that you did mean it, but by then I've already said no. Which is totally stupid. Because the truth is...
I really want to do
The
it.
truth is what?
I was going to ask you.
The truth is, I really like you.
There we go.
And if you're not already going with someone...
There we go.
I'd love to take you to the dance.
Really? You mean it?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean,
Wow,
That released from its wire pretty quick.
that'd be really cool.
that's a
I say
really...
wire. String. It's probably... usually with those kind of effects, it's just fishing line.
That's a nifty little cool effect. Hey, Lori.
She's gonna take all that stuff and leave it behind dry.
Did you get everything I asked for?
Of course. There's one giant pink teddy bear.
Okay.
One pair of snow skis.
Okay.
A diamond tiara. And
What?
you mustn't forget your new veggie juicer.
How wealthy are
Veggie
you?
juicer?
Now you go to the Valentine's Day dance with me, right?
What about my balloons?
Oh, Monty. Monty, look out for him!
No balloons, no dance.
Okay.
You can't have one.
No balloons. No date. But I'll keep everything else. Thanks.
Of course you will.
She's not a nice
I
person.
don't feel bad for Victor because he set himself up by trying to buy a date with things. No one will ever
This was the trailer I talked about for the season as the fall season as a whole.
start a good relationship by
Yeah.
trying to bribe someone with gifts.
Yeah.
Never.
But yeah, you can see that there's stuff from
Whoa.
that was what people were talking about before. When
Evil Mick.
yeah, being in a commercial.
I hadn't seen this commercial yet.
Basically, anything that if it's aired on TV, I consider that fair game for on the spoiler market there. But we never look at the previews, and I never give you any insider.
There's
info.
only one S in Marisa, people!
Her name is at the end of every credits. Just saying. There is only one S in Marisa.
No one ever spells it right.
Even my autocorrect on my phone keeps trying to add in an S. And I'm like, when have I ever spelled it with two S's? Why would you autocorrect something that I use that I write every day? Anyway, what I was saying before, apart from just
about
this is a solid
the
episode.
times.
The timing.
The timing.
So they film all the way going through May.
Mm-hmm.
So they were
Thanks,
probably still writing episodes even in March or whatever. Basically, my thought is that during this time, we may have been seeing less interference from Haim Saban himself, because I do believe that based off of various interviews, etc., that he has been a major driver for keep it simple, keep it funny, keep it good for the kids, and throw in some of that old stuff that we like.
So he may have been part of the major nostalgia push that was causing things to get more childish?
That's my personal theory. But when you think about it, this was probably written right around the time that the movie was coming out, which then was probably leading right around into the time when they started considering the Hasbro deal. So this may be when we start seeing a little bit more.
So you think it's not Chip who stepped back, but Heim?
That's my thought.
This is an interesting theory.
Because if you also,
we still don't know exactly to what extent he was involved in this.
Like let's face it. Ultimately, it's the showrunner who decides what that final product is that they put forward. They can do their best to try and fit the needs being presented to them by the ones who are ranked above them.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it is still their job to make it work.
Athena has actually heard that it was Heim pushing for the juvenile humor.
Yeah, I believe that was mentioned in a recent.
He didn't think RPM was funny.
Panel.
RPM was hilarious.
Yeah, that was. Well, here's what was quoted a fair bit right at the beginning of Saban Brand's buying out Power Rangers, was saying they want to bring. They felt like it had been straying a little bit away from the humor, and I don't think that they necessarily meant in the dialogue. I think they mean in the
physical humor, the slapstick.
Well, in the tone of the show.
Okay.
Power Rangers RPM, while being one of the funniest seasons of the series, it is a very dark setting. And I think they wanted to go for something that was lighter and
managed to make it so funny is that they were
kid-friendly.
able to tap into areas of humor they usually can't.
Yeah.
Like dark humor and sarcasm.
Yeah, and heavily meta humor as well. But I get the impression that, you know... what is it?
Heim is confusing. He reminds Review Time of Vince McMahon in that back in the day he was very in tune with his audience and now he doesn't know what's going on. And if you've ever watched wrestling, the Vince McMahon thing is a little bit
I haven't watched it,
nose.
but I kind of get the idea. You know, he's gotten older. He had some time away from the franchise. And I think he's trying to recapture what he remembers it being.
glory days.
And he's done some, and I don't want to, you know.
His run did bring us the theatrical movie.
Yeah, he's really worked on building up the brand. I think some of the efforts in terms of the tone of the TV show have been misguided, though, which was compounded by Jonathan Zakor's run, which was heavily just keep the story as close to Sentai as possible, and you know, let's worry about our action instead. And then if you look at Dino Charge,
Mm-hmm.
it feels very much like a season where it started to become more like the other Saban seasons as it went on. Where,
I was gonna say, Dino Charge was probably the best of the Neo Saban series.
and then in Dino Supercharge, we saw things kind of go back down towards a little bit simpler, a little bit goofier, a little bit more standalone emphasis,
Mm-hmm.
even though there were still the overarching stories. In the individual episodes, the emphasis was more on the standalone story and less on the arc. And I think part of that was, you know, you see Haim Saban sees the first batch of episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and is like, you know what, this
needs a little bit more.
This isn't what I'm really looking for here. I'm looking for more comedy. Can you make the next ones more comedy, more standalone? Better for the kids?
Heim got the Power Rangers into the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's done a bunch of great things for the franchise. I think some of his storytelling instincts haven't been the best. But let's face it, that's not what his.
Well, I was saying earlier.
Those aren't his strengths. His strengths are marketing the show and creating a strong brand.
When I was saying I thought that there was probably more to do with Beck and Alwyn than to do with Chip, I was mentioning that, you know, people who have been doing this for a long time are very set in their ways.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, is that his ways were really good for the audience back then.
Yeah.
And trying to use the same ways on a more modern audience, it's like, it's not that there's been a declination of skill, it's just you move things from one time to another time, and that can change everything because your audience changes.
I think also, it's not just that, I think it's also a matter of, when it comes to writing, or really creating any form of art, there's a issue, you either try and recreate old magic, or you try and find new ways and try to keep building on your craft. I think there's been a little too much effort to recreate an old zeitgeist, rather than trying to create a new zeitgeist.
Yes.
And you're not going to get the same kind of results trying to recreate something that already exists that you're going to get when you try and build something new. And I think back in the earlier days, they were always trying to build something new, and I think that's why it worked a bit better. But trying to recapture what used to exist, you're not going to hit on that same gold again, because you're not pushing yourself in the same way.
Okay. Thanks, Power Rangers, Linkar quote, "Thank you, Power Rangers, for continuing to prove that you are often less sophisticated than a cartoon about lesbian space rocks." There are a lot of things less sophisticated than Steven Universe.
Steven Universe is an excellent
Universe
series.
is actually pretty highbrow.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Don't dump on Steven Universe by making it like that's a low bar.
It's funny phrasing. I'll admit it's funny phrasing.
Because it makes it sound like, oh, how did you wind up under that?
It's just because it's silly, funny phrasing. I know that's the idea. We all know that Steven Universe is an excellently done show.
It's excellent.
But circling back to this episode, it does feel like we're hitting a groove right now. This is the third episode in a row where I feel like they've really working to correct some of their storytelling issues. And they feel like they've really been pushing things a bit more now. Somebody was saying, what would I think of a
crossover with the Q Rangers and the Guardians of the Galaxy? I don't think that would ever happen, but it would be a cheese fest of
that would be weird cheesy. I don't even know what that would be like.
That would be more cheese than Ratatouille and his entire family could handle.
Yes. You mean Remy the Rat?
Yes.
Because Ratatouille was the
right,
was
yeah,
the movie,
my name is not
character.
Shazam.
Yeah. But yeah,
No, I'm with review time. I think it's just the audience is involved.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the audience has evolved, but I also think that they're trying to recapture rather than build new, and that rarely works well creatively. I think you stagnate creatively when you try to do that.
And Drax would be hilarious, but unfortunately, I don't think any future movie, even if this somehow hypothetically managed to happen, would actually include Drax right now, because he's kind of really upset about them getting rid of that director.
Oh, yeah. We'll see what happens with Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I'm not
Production
sure.
is apparently on hold right now with all that.
Yeah,
We'll
I'm not sure that he still wants to do Guardians without that director.
Well, we also know that Disney wouldn't want to work with Toei again.
That too.
Like, this is completely hypothetical just from a character standpoint is what I think they're asking about.
Fair enough.
But focusing a little bit more on this episode, I liked a lot of elements. I feel like there were a lot of ways this episode could have gone cringier, and it didn't, and that makes me happy. I know you got cringed out for a bit there.
And I've just thought of another thing.
What's up?
Okay, so when she shot him with the arrow in the metal, right?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of stuck there, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so when she shot Sandy in the backpack and it hit her book.
Yeah.
Why didn't we see the stalk sticking out of the backpack?
we did it first, if I recall correctly. I think we just lost sight of it in between shots, and I think it ended up being embedded farther in the backpack than we could see.
The last one was really good, but let's put it this way. The first one was great. The second one was actually really great, too. So if they can make a really great third one, I'm on board.
Yeah, they've been... The Guardians of the Galaxy movies have both been really good.
Sometimes, yeah, you're like, okay, this has been done to death, and we need to stop now.
And they've set up good... And they've set up some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I noticed that, too.
But back to this...
The same thing happened on Jake's screen when we were watching it. I don't know why.
What, the footage got really dark?
Yeah, it did. For like half a second, it went like boom, boom.
Oh, what, for us?
There and
for the
on your laptop and for the people watching
strange.
at home. I thought that was just your laptop screen trying to go to sleep, but apparently they could see it too.
Weird. Maybe we got a little power fluctuation or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
The power was not protecting us. But yeah, this was good use of a recurring character. This was good use of Victor and Monty's subplot tying in thematically to everything else.
I agree with the people who want to see more Sandy.
Yeah, that's doing cute. It's like Kaylee with Dino Supercharge. That was a good arc for Chase.
Or what was
Although I feel like the with Love at First Fight was actually more cringy than this episode. Because
no, but what was SPD?
SPD? Allie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Allie was good. Good little bit of recurring.
What'd you call it, Steve?
She was mildly recurring at the very end because she appeared very close to the end of the series.
I'm gonna cut you look. Who gave an I'm gonna cut you look?
I'm assuming you. You seem like you'd be the one to do that more than me.
That's probably was me. Emily from Zio?
Emily from Zio, that I thought that she was a solid recurring.
The Lupin Ranger versus Potter Ranger and film. Yeah, we are kind of interested in seeing that.
Yeah, it's just going to be a matter of seeing where it fits into our schedule. I don't think there's been a break in Lupin Ranger versus Potter Ranger yet, which is weird.
It has gone. Boom, 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 boom. They have not had a single.
Yeah, maybe when Lupin Ranger versus Potter Ranger has a week off.
What's Gake no Tsukai?
What are you?
Gake no Tsukai are going to be in the Lupin Ranger Power Ranger movie.
Oh, I don't know.
Who those are.
Maybe it's a band. I'm not sure.
Richie from MMPR.
That was a little recurring character who was a White Ranger decoy and Trini love interest who promptly disappeared once Trini left and Tommy was revealed to be the White Ranger.
Well, she had a peace conference to go to. Oh, yeah. They're a comedy group.
Oh, okay. Oh, I wonder if Hilltop's actor is involved with them at all, because I know he is
involved or was involved in a comedy troupe in Japan. That's
apparently they are
like
very
how
funny.
He got his start over there. Was he decided he wanted to be a Japanese comedian, went over there and learned Japanese just to do that.
But yeah, this felt sort of. I like that we've had a string of episodes that have all kind of linked together, and this string of episodes has slowly built up to something a little bit stronger for the season. At this point, the Galactic Ninjas arc has been basically six episodes long. I mean, we did get a break with Dimensions in Danger, but Dimensions in Danger itself was linked to Outfoxed.
Right.
So there has been sort of that steady linking of episodes that got stronger after the first few. Like, we had the Wolverine showing up when they were doing the play, and that introduced all of them. We followed up on it with Speedwing, which was probably the most isolated episode of the bunch. Mm-hmm. And then Caught Red-Handed was the one where things came together on Foxatron. And then from there we spilled over into Outfoxed, which continued directly off of that cliffhanger. Outfoxed teased Dimensions in Danger, which was the next episode. And then this episode tied up the loose ends of the arc. And I find that 5 episode arcs, or 5 to 6 episode arcs, are really a good string of episodes. episodes for Power Rangers to work with. Because it basically functions as a week.
So Ike Nwala was actually in a comedy troupe called Cho Shinjuku.
Okay, so he was in
so not
different comedy
not Gaki no Tsukai.
Yeah.
They also Gaki did a Go.
Yeah,
Go
I wouldn't say the Galactic Ninjas was a strong arc necessarily, but I will say that it did lay some groundwork for tighter continuity throughout this season. And this season, we haven't really had much by way of driving plots. We had the whole thing with finding the gold star, figuring out what happened to Brody's dad, what the deal was with the Lion Galaxy. We had those running arcs and the destruction of Ripcon, the rivalry with Galvanax. There were various things that season set up, worked towards, and completed. But
I
this
love
one's
Madame
just
Marisa's Big Bad.
But this one is just sort of building off of, okay, it's still trying to get the Ninja Stars, it's just now Madame Odious is in charge. And we didn't have too much by way of strong plot drivers going on. Whereas now, well, up until now, over the course of these last 6 episodes, we had an arc of villains that
It's true.
we introduced them all together. They were getting resolved one by one.
Brody's dad
Getting rid.
disappeared.
Yeah, and then after Brody's dad, after he was revealed to be alive, he just disappeared from the show. Basically, he had a cameo and
As
at the beginning of the
pointed
season.
out, that was kind of hilarious.
I don't know what the deal is
What
with
happened to
Brody's
Brody's dad?
It's absurd. They
Does Dane still exist? Who's Dane?
Dane Romero,
Oh,
Brody's dad. Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
I forgot his name.
Yeah. But just by virtue of having an arc with some level of structure, it gives you something to build on, so there can be some sort of emotional climax to the arc. Like, who is better dad, Tyler's dad or Brody's dad? I'm gonna go with Brody's dad, because at least he had a reason for
Tyler's dad just
not,
effed off.
like. Yeah, Tyler's dad. His reasoning was
He was
much
alive
weaker.
the whole time.
Whereas
not
Brody's
captive.
dad was actually trapped inside of a magical item. You can't blame him for disappearing for that time.
Yeah.
It is weird that he's disappeared this season.
Tyler's dad just took off for, what was it, like 10 years?
Yeah, he was gone for 10 years.
And not trapped in anything.
Yeah. Whereas Brody's dad, he actually, was making efforts to protect his family, and
Tyler's dad and Rusty, OTP.
Oh yeah. Tyler's dad was just off with Rusty. We've established this.
We've established this.
Rusty. But yeah,
Make us Brody's dad.
this string of episodes,
I mean,
we were able to work towards
probably is, in a way.
creating some stronger character dynamics and some stronger continuity and some stronger drama.
I wouldn't be surprised if he looked out for him as a kid.
Much like how we all the little plot threads of the first half of Ninja Steel kind of came to a head with Family Fusion, when Levi was revealed to be Aiden. That was one of their strongest episodes. It still had its issues, but it was stronger because it was paying off a number of running plot lines. Those plot lines could have been better fleshed out across the course of those episodes, which would have made for more impact. Mm-hmm. But it still had probably the most impact out of what was going on because there was those little bits of build-up. And I feel like that's the same thing with the Galactic Ninja stuff.
Okay, so quick run through some things from the chat.
Yeah.
Athena pointed out that Mick is probably basically Brody's dad, which makes some sense because he got dropped into the slave pool, and Mick is probably the one who looked out for him as a kid and probably raised him.
At this point, he's spent much more time with Mick than he has with his father in terms of years.
Mick has done more parenting for him than that.
Yeah.
Now, somebody else also pointed out that it's entirely possible that Dane is just chilling at home and they know exactly where he is and he has not, you know, pulled a Tyler's dad.
My question is why, you know, Earth's greatest ninja is not involved in these battles.
I'm going to guess it has something to do with the fact that he has no ninja stars.
Which also raises a question of...
What happened to the Red Ranger powers that he got at the end of last season?
Same thing with Mick. You see, as satisfying as it was to have those 3 Red Rangers at the end of last season, it's really strange that now they make no reference or efforts towards having those Rangers again. They had a team of 8, and then now they're back down to a team of 6. And they make no references to having been in a team of 8.
All right.
And that's just weird.
So, and here's a question. Who is the best parent in Power Rangers? And I'm putting forth Summers Butler.
Summers Butler was named Andrews.
Andrews.
Not Jeeves or Jives. Andrews.
Andrews. I'm putting forth Andrews. Someone else put forth Spencer. Someone else is putting forth Dane. What about you?
If we're going with Butlers here, I'm gonna go really obscure and go with Phillips. Phillips was Wes's butler, who was in like 2 episodes.
Flynn's dad. Flynn's dad was a pretty good dad. He continued to support him through a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, they
RPM isn't bad on the parents' front. I mean, Ziggy's are missing and Summers are weird, but Summer had Andrews.
Yeah.
And Ziggy had his uncle, who was kind of but still looked out for him.
No, Ziggy? You're thinking Benny, who was his friend.
No, I'm thinking Benny, who was his friend, but apparently at some point he lived with an uncle, because there was an uncle mentioned once.
Yeah, I believe that.
That being said, for some reason I thought Benny was his uncle, and that's how he wound up in the whole thing.
I don't know how we ended up getting on a parents' kick here. Oh, because we were talking about Brady's
Master
dad.
Finn. How about Master Finn?
Him and RJ were pretty strained. I'm trying to think who didn't have a strained relationship with their family.
Flynn.
Oh, you know what? No.
He didn't have a strained relationship.
Chase and Riley's moms. They both seem to have good, solid relationships.
I mean, Colonel Truman was okay, but I think he really wound up neglecting his...
I mean, then again, they both their moms did just kind of let their kids run off and, like, not come home. So, I guess they're okay, but that's still a certain type of neglect.
He didn't handle the death of his first son very well and wasn't there to support his younger son when his older son died. So I do not think that Truman should be in the running for best parent.
I do want to try and bring the discussion a little bit back to this episode, because we have gone off on a few tangents here. But I feel like we really got into a good groove with the characters, with their dialogue, with their dynamics, and this episode also allowed itself to breathe in ways that others haven't. We had some really nice the Victor and Monty stuff was at the beginning and at the end, and it tied thematically, and it impacted the main story of Preston and Sandy.
Yes.
Which is exactly like all the things that a classic Bulk and Skull arc should do. So, I say arc, the story thread should do. So that worked fine, and it was funny, and it was relatively down to earth, apart from, Monty just kind of floating away, like Mary Poppins for like a quick moment.
Mary Poppins? Is he cool?
Mary Poppins, y'all! There we go, we made Guardians of the Galaxy relevant to the conversation. But, so I felt like this was one of the best handlings of Victor and Monty I've seen on the show to date. I felt like...
They were integrated very well.
I felt like
It wasn't a side thing where they weren't really participating. They were just off on their own. There were no fart jokes. 0 fart jokes.
And there really haven't been as many as people like to pretend.
I know, but I hate the fart jokes anyway.
I know. They've been in like 3 or 4 episodes. But Preston's arc with Sandy, we had a little added emotional resonance to that because she was a character who we'd already established she had some chemistry with. There you go.
There's one.
Wait. She is a go-getter. I just realized she's taking both chemistry and physics. She is a go-getter. Good for her. Good on you, Sandy. Building up your STEM skills there. Also, her being saved by the physics book. And this establishes that she's taking 12th grade physics.
Thanks, Omega Ranger.
Yeah. That was...
Omega Res?
Yes.
Sorry.
So, and I felt like their misunderstanding was one that was... I understood where it was coming from. I understood why the characters were acting the way they were. Neither of them seemed to be acting in such a way where I'm like, dude, just do this. Dude, just do that. Why aren't you acting like a person? Which is usually the driver for these sort of romantic misunderstandings.
Yes, Scott. We actually just finished. We finished the episode.
Oh yeah, we just finished. Yeah, Lessons of Consent. You know, this was very good about.
Sorry, Scott.
There was that extra layer of it being a consent issue. You know, and how complex that can sometimes be, and how
under a spell, you can't consent.
Yeah, basically. And as far as, you know, I think it handled consent in a very good way, in that the key aspect of it is, if you try and base it off, you need to look at the situation in which the romance is unfolding. You need to look at the context of the romance, but ultimately, the best way to resolve a question of consent is with communication. With simple, clear communication at the end of things. And at a point when you're sure that the person you're communicating with isn't communicating with you from a compromised position.
This was a refreshing. Scott Sandler says it was turned fresh, because love spells have been done to death on Power Rangers, but this was a nice new take on it by having her not actually under the spell.
Yeah. I also like that we resolved the civilian conflict at the end of the episode. So it had room to breathe across the whole episode.
It made a nice button.
One of the flaws that I've noticed that Power Rangers has fallen into, and Ninja Steel in particular is guilty of this, is resolving the civilian plotline before the Ranger plotline. At which point it's basically like, okay, so we've now had this plotline for only half an episode, and now it's all fighting. And then it's just like a check-in at the end rather than an actual resolution. Whereas here it was an actual
for
nice
starters,
resolution.
there's only one S in Marisa.
I don't watch YouTube cringe compilations. I don't think you do either.
I don't watch those. Why would I subject myself to that? No, I do not watch cringe compilations, Dustin. No.
And there was very good use of Calvin and Haley in this episode.
Yes.
Which felt appropriate. Pretty much every Ranger got a chance to shine in some regard, with the exception of, I'd say, maybe Sarah. Sarah
That's what I was thinking too.
But like, a lot of the characters got their own funny moments or heartwarming moments. It was a Preston episode, but you really felt like the ensemble made it work. The support he got from Haley in the context of her relationship with Calvin. We had 3 of the guys really get to play up their comedy without it being too ridiculous. I felt like each of them were exploring their love for Venema in ways that fit their characters.
Yeah.
And we had some great stuff in them going to seek out Venema, and we got some great little bits of meta humor there with
Monsters love quarries.
That is the kind of awareness that I love for the show to have. So
that was the kind of thing that made RPM so fun for me, is because I mean I'm not as much into this as you are, and I can see all of the
little tropes.
Little tropes, and I like it when my television is self-aware.
I like it when they point out the tropes without making it too ham-handed.
Yeah, no.
Because sometimes they're banging you over the head with it.
But there's always...
Lothar pushed it a little much sometimes during Ninja Storm.
About a well-structured lampshade hanging.
Yeah. This felt like a solid classic episode of Ninja Storm. And that's actually the level that I've been wanting to see this show at.
Me too, NTSB. I was also ruffling at RPM.
At this point, it is getting a bit late. We've been on this for just over an hour. I know we had a lot to actually gush for once, so I kind of wanted to keep that rolling. But you have work in the morning.
I do. And I might have another 12-hour. I'm not really sure, because basically how I got overtime this time was I got a text message around the time I woke up from my boss saying that the guy who I work with, who usually works from 8 to 8, wasn't going to be in. Right. So could I stay from 3:30 to 8, because I usually leave at 3:30? And if he's still sick, I'm probably doing it again tomorrow.
Yep. But yeah, those were my thoughts real quick. This is feels like the season coming into its own, and the characters gelling, falling into a groove. The structure of the episode was very solid. The themes of the episode were very solid. The moral was complex yet portrayed in a way that I think kids could understand. The dialogue felt actually rather natural, and there were good bits of comedy. Plus, we had a cool action sequence with Preston and Venema. This hit all the points that you want to see a nice, solid, sort of standalone episode of Power Rangers hit, while still also fitting into a larger narrative. In this case, being the resolution of the Galactic Ninjas arc and bringing back Sandy as a recurring character. So, good job. Congrats to the writers. I feel like this is where you want this show at, and I want them to keep going with that. So, thank you to all of you guys for joining us tonight. We're going to keep working to keep this live stream thing going, because I think...
Yeah, I think we'd like to do this again, but not this late at night.
Yeah, we're going to try and go for a little bit earlier next week. We'll probably be doing this just for the Power Rangers episodes, probably not for the Sentai episodes.
Not for the Q Rangers.
For the Lupin Ranger, Pat Rangers.
It's too hard to read subtitles.
And a chat.
And handle the chat, because I'm still getting it out of the corner of my eye.
I feel like this is more germane to our current conversations in the fandom anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
So
good night, Dustin.
So good night, everybody. Thank you again.
Good night, review time.
Good night.
Good night, Omega Res and Spencer.
And
Orange. Good night, Orange.
Good night, Gokai Orange.
Good night, Bleach.
Good night.
Good night, Athena.
Yes, good night to one and all. Thank you very much to the dozen or so people who are still with us. So I think let's wrap it up with a good old classic. Farewell, Ranger fans, and let the power protect you. I'm trying to think of a tagline.
We're still on the live stream.
That's true.